Okay, so we are good. Now we are going to log into this machine and then let us begin from here, right?
Yes, sir.
So let us log into this machine. We are going to begin with SSH client and the same terminal we have. Okay, so what we are going to discuss today. So first of all, we are going to discuss here that how do we configure date and time. Before we configure date and time, so we need to understand that there are a couple of mechanisms, a couple of type of times are there. What are the times? Well, first of all, we need to understand that we have local time, like we can run a command here date. So this will tell us that what is going to be our current time of this operating system. So if you see here, this is showing Wednesday, March 27, and the time is 030720 AM. But if you see, the particular time zone is UTC. So, okay, what is our time zone?
Yes,
That should be IST, right? Indian Standard Time. But right now, what time is being displayed here?
UTC.
UTC. So now, as a Linux administrator, our first work is to change this particular date and time, and especially the particular time which should be available within our time zone. Okay. So in order to do so, what can we do? So right now, the accurate timekeeping is the most important for several reasons. For several reasons. Why it is so? Let us say multiple people are connecting to your server from different time zone. So if you do not have your time zone sync across all the servers within your environment, so what challenge will it become? It will become a lot of challenging thing. Why it is so? Let us say on database you are capturing some different time zone. On web server you are capturing some different time zone. And when you are talking about, let us say, some application server, you are capturing like a different time zone or a different time there. So, for example, if someone comes to you and states and asks you, okay, that my transaction got failed. So when you will log into your web server, you will be able to see some different time zone, or let us say some different time here. At the same time, on some different server, there is a different time. So it will become really hard for you to sync all the particular requests which were executed at the same time, because right now you have different time zones available on your environment. In order to get rid of this particular situation, there is a particular mechanism known as NTP. NTP stands for Network Time Protocol. So NTP protocol, obviously, when we are talking about any protocol, so there has to be kind of port. So NTP works on port number 123. Like 123 is the port number for NTP. Okay. One more thing I would like to highlight here before we go forward, that currently all the systems which were running with RHL 7 and up till RHL 8 as well. So most of systems were using NTP protocol. So the same protocol has been improvised, and now there is a particular version which is being utilized, that is known as CronyD. So Red Hat Enterprise Linux 9 and later version use the CronyD daemon to implement NTP, right? So if someone is going to ask you what is the difference between NTP and CronyD, so the protocol remains same, known as NTP, but the particular daemon has been modified, known as CronyD, right? Now, if you see in a little more detail, CronyD is available from the Crony package. So there is a particular package known as Crony. If it is available on the system, then well and good. If it is not available on the system, then definitely we can do that. And do not worry, we will we will try to configure NTP. This is known as, what is the meaning of NTP? Network Time Protocol. And we will see how to configure NTP using CronyD. Okay, so what is the command here in order to check date and time? The command here is date. So if I run a command time, so what does it, what will it do? So will it bring the time of the system? No. So whenever we execute any command and we want to capture the time of that executed command, then we can get to know with the help of time and date. What is this? So this time command is calculating the time of this date command. Like how long does it take in order to provide us the desired result? Right, guys? What it is doing? It is going to calculate the time which is taken by date command. Okay. So now once again, we can define multiple ways here. And what are the ways? Let us say if you run a command time date CTL. So what will it do? It will bring more detailed information for you. Time date CTL. Let us say local time is this, right? Then after if you talk about universal time, same thing. RTC time, this. Time zone UTC. System clock synchronized, yes. NTP service active. Local time zone is not enabled. What is local time zone? Let us say I'm working from India. So is local time zone enabled over here for me? So actually that is not. Okay. So guys, now let us say that if I need to change this particular time zone to IST, Indian Standard Time. So what to do? See, so if you talk about system-wide locale settings are stored in this particular configuration file. Okay, let us try to open this. But before that, we need to install a package, a DNF install. The package name here is locale, right? If it is available, then fine. If not available, then it will get installed. Okay, no matching, no matching package. So let us try to install Vim. So guys, if you have any question, you can ask anytime. That why we are doing this, what do we want to achieve out of this? Anything and everything, whatever you have in your mind during these particular sessions, you can easily ask, right? So DNF is a particular package manager which we use in order to install the command in Linux operating system.
Sir, but I see that most of them are use yum.
Okay, so yum was used until RHL 7.
Okay, sir.
So as we are talking about here, like if you go a little back, that we have here Cronedy in place of NTP that has been improvised, right? The same way, DNF is an updated version of yum. Whether you can use yum. For example, I want to run a command yum install, let us say vsftpd, any package I want to install. So either I can utilize yum command for installing a package or I can use DNF command. So DNF command is supporting latest version of Python with latest dependency resolution. It is much faster in comparison to yum.
Okay, sir.
Otherwise, most of option remain same. For example, we used to run a command yum clean. All right. In place of that, we can run this command dnf clean all.
Okay, sir.
Right?
Depend on the version and OS.
Yes, depending on operating system version. How do we check operating system version? So there is a file known as etc os-release. We
Oh,
can check the particular detail of current version. So right now we are working with RHL 9.7, 9.3 version.
hmm.
So based on the version, for example, if we talk about RHL 7, so DNF command is not available there,
Okay, sir.
right? So okay, so right now when we are talking about like system-wide information available, so where we are going to go, vim etc local.conf. So if you see here, like we want to set some language, like what kind of language do you want to use in order to run this particular operating system? So this is known as English US UTF-8 format. So like if you want to change the like language format, if you want to select any specific type of language, let us say you don't want to work with US, you want to go with UK language. So that sort of things are available, and that sort of thing can be configured within this particular file, right? Moreover, if you talk about, so whenever you want to see like what are the particular options available in order to select different configurations, so you can run this particular command: English, AU Australia, BW, CA Canada, DK Great Britain, HKIE New Zealand, right? So multiple options are available here. So whatever option you prefer to opt, you can definitely opt from here. What you need to do here is you need to select, let us say, rather than this, you want to go for example, Great Britain, GB. You can go for this. For example, you want to go for Zimbabwe, you want to go for New Zealand. So whatever kind of English you prefer, you can select that from here. Okay. One more thing I would like to tell you. So there is a particular like time zone, ETC, local time. So this is an encrypted file. So whatever information we store here in order to configure our time zone, that is getting stored within this particular file. For example, if you want to see the status of this, like what is the status? So it will tell you like system locale language is this, key map is US, X11 layout is US. X11 means GUI mode. So if somehow GUI, like graphical user interface, is enabled on this operating system, so whenever there will be a prompt, so that will display the spellings and other kind of grammatical stuff related to US English only, not with the UK one. So if you want to change the command, so definitely you can run this particular command set locale. Then after that, whatever kind of English you would like to configure, you can do that. For now, because see, like we don't have any problem with US English, we are not going to modify it. Otherwise, what you can do, you already have the list of particulars. Then after you will run this particular command, locale, set locale language is equal to then this and that, whatever kind of language you want to set, you can define it. And in the end, what you need to do, rather than defining this here like yeah, US, we can define that NZ. And that is it. So once again, if we run this particular command status, then it will show us this. Are we clear with this? Like how do we change the particular time zone or this local setting like in term of language?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Any questions? Ayush, any question?
No, sir.
Okay.
Sir, this is the depending on company.
So
Like
this
we,
is depending not only on the company, but the particular like time zone where company is operating. For example, company A has 5 different data centers operating from different regions. For example, we are talking about, let us say, Amazon. So Amazon is such a brand which is not only operating in India, but let us say in US, in France, in Brazil, in America, in Britain, right? Which
yes,
we
sir.
call it as UK, United Kingdom. So when different users are approaching or are trying to access their environment from different time zones, so it will become really hard for them to manage all the users with a single time zone, right?
Yes, sir.
Or with a single language. So for example, all the servers which are placed in New Zealand, so just wait a moment. So for example, when we are talking about that all the users who are coming from UK should get a language preference as UK. All the users coming from US should get as language preference as US. The same thing goes with New Zealand and others, right? So when we are talking about this particular environment, that when we have multiple regions, multiple user base, so we should be getting the particular same language comfort. Same thing goes with time zone. So, for example, all the transactions which are happening in UK should be captured with the time zone of UK only, not with India. Now, as we all are aware that Amazon has 2 data centers in India itself. Like first of all, the first data center here is in
Mumbai.
Mumbai, and second one is in Hyderabad. So when we have 2 data centers in India, so obviously like there should be an option where we can define the particular time zone, like time zone as India. So right now when we talk about like date command, if we run, it is going to say, yeah, like UTC. What if I want to see here as IST? So is there any way that we can change the time zone? Yes, guys, is there any way?
Yes, sir.
Like, how do we change?
Command like local.
With the help of local ECTL command.
Which command you are talking about? Locale CTL.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So how will it help to change the timeline or the particular time zone?
Sir, like we can list with the help of local CTL command, and then which
Time
time zone
time
we
date
want.
CTL, sir.
Wait. So the time here local CTL is for local language, but the command which we have here is time date CTL. This will help here.
Time date CTL.
See what kind of options we can use: status, show, set time, moreover set time zone, right? Moreover list time zone. So over there when we were talking about like local CTL command, we were working with like language preference, but right now we are talking about here time zones, right? So what if I want to know about the available time zones? What I will do, local like time date CTL list time zones. What time zone do we want to have here?
India.
We will have to look at it like Asia.
Mm.
And guys, keep this thing in mind. So there are two. One is known as Indiana,
Okay, sir.
and second one is Kolkata. So whenever we want to set our time zone, so we need to define this Asia Kolkata, right?
Yes, sir.
Now, rather than define here list time zone, we're going to
Okay.
define here set time zone. And what is the time zone we want to have?
Asia Kolkata.
So what is the command end of the day we have utilized here in order to set this particular time zone?
Time date
Time date
CTL.
Time date CTL command we have utilized here.
Yes,
So
sir.
how did we get to know like what are the particular options we can use? Because see, like guys, why we are discussing all these things? So the reason behind this particular activity is that we are quite beginners, and those who are really beginners and root and does not have idea like how to perform what sort of operations with this particular one, right? So that is where we are trying to understand, and we are trying to understand the options as well, that how we can modify that. So let us say we run date command. So what is the time right now? It is 8:54:36. And what is the particular time zone available here?
Indian standard.
IST.
IST. So I hope this is only what we were looking for. That how do we configure it?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
So are we clear with this?
Yes,
Yes.
sir. Understood, sir.
Okay. Fine. So let's move ahead. So right now we have understood like how do we change date and time? How do we change the time zone? How do we change the local of any local language, you can call that, of any like system? So when we are talking about like how do we configure this particular thing from web means if we are working with like desktop version. For example, I have this particular Mac operating system. I have this web view, like I can click here, I can go to anywhere, wherever I want, right? Whatever options I want to see, I can check that here. But when we are talking about that, if Linux server is configured in GUI mode, maybe because of some specific requirement, so there are kind of options using what we can change these settings with the help of the graphical user mode. Like we can change the particular language option here. We can change the particular, let us say that time zone, additional resources, whatever we want, we can configure that here. Are we clear with that?
Yes, sir.
Sir.
Okay. So now when we talk about next topic which comes here is, so guys, right now we are looking at the overview of Linux operating system. We are not deep diving into it. Obviously, we will start doing this once we are ready. At least these sort of like basic terms are well known to us. Then after we will start deep diving into it. Reason behind walking you through this particular guide, because see, like this is basic system setting. This is not like RHCA, Red Hat Certified Administrator. This is not RSCE, Red Hat Certified Engineer. So what do we want to perform here is at least the basic sense of understanding operating system we want to obtain before going into that depth level, right? So this is only what we are trying to go through this. Are we clear
Yes,
with
sir.
that?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So now when we talk about like using secure communications between two systems with open SSH, now what does that mean? So guys, so let us say that we have an operating system here, like we have one server, and we want to have one more instance. Let me create one more instance for running this particular session. Select this one, go to actions, and I want to say that launch more like this. Launch more like this. Like I want to create more instance like this, like the same image, same security group, same key pair, everything. I want to ensure that everything is going to remain same. Even the name of server is going to remain same. Even the same AMI catalog, same instance type, everything like key pair I can select manually here, and everything is going to remain same, right? So I have launched one another instance. What is the requirement here? Because now I would like to test, let us call it box one, and the other box which is going to come, we can define, rather than defining Linux box here, we can define a server as well. So this is going to be Linux box one, and this is going to be Linux box two. Are we clear with this? That right now we have two servers.
Yes,
So
sir.
right now, what does this particular say? What does this particular chapter 5 wants to say? What we are trying to do here? So guys, since we are beginning, so we do not only operate on one server, but we need to log in from one server to another. For example, if I connect from this server, I can copy the keys. I can open another terminal here. Okay, so if I tell you, okay, obviously that guys, like we are much aware of it that IP space R is the particular command which we use in order to check the IP address of any server.
Yes, sir.
Maybe IP address show, that command we can use.
Gateway.
Multiple ways are here.
Yes, sir.
Okay, so this chapter, chapter number 5, like using secure communication between two systems with open SSH. Okay, so what is SSH? First of all, we want to understand that SSH means SSH. This is known as secure shell. Now, what does that mean, secure shell? So, guys, whenever we want to communicate between two servers, for example, this is our server one. Okay, let us give this host name. Linux box 2. Let us define the previous box as Linux box 1. What is this? Linux box 1, and what is this? Linux box 2. So right now, we want to establish a communication between these two servers. For example, there is a particular file. Let us say this is a particular file. Let us say etc password. This is a file. Why do we use it? We will discuss later on. But just for example, that we have a file and we would like to transfer this file from this server to this server. So how can we do that?
CP command using.
Pardon?
CP commands.
Okay, very true. So CP command is used only when, let us say if I want to copy this particular file from this server to this server only. So I can use CP command.
Okay, sir.
But when we want to communicate between two different servers over network, I would not say over internet, but when we want to communicate between two servers, maybe within same network or maybe within over like over the internet, but both the servers are different, both the operating systems are different. So in that particular case, we have to use here a command known as SCP, like secure copy. Okay. So for example, I have a particular server, like I want to copy this particular file. So first of all, how do we write the commands on Linux terminal, guys? We need to understand that. First of all, the particular command. Let us say I want to run a command here, ls. ls means list a particular file or directory. ls is the command. Now I want to list here etc pass library. So this is known as command, right? This particular word known as ls is known as command. And this particular file, this is known as argument. What are these? What is this?
File.
List file. List. ls means
This
list.
particular word ls is known as command here.
Yes, sir. Command.
Yes. And this particular etc pass lib to d is known as argument.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So if I list this, then this is going to display me like etc pass lib to d. Okay. One more thing I want to tell you guys. So let us say if I want to list with all the details associated with this particular file, let us say what are the permissions available on this particular server. If any link is created, obviously when we will go deeper into this particular course, then I will definitely make you understand like how do we understand what is the particular meaning of this dot, why this dash or you can call these hyphens are available, what is this r, what is this w. So everything we will discuss in detail, considering that we are quite new to this particular course and we would like to understand from scratch.
Yes, sir.
I'm just trying to explain all the things. So first of all, guys, we need to understand this is known as command.
Command.
This is known as argument and this is known as option, or you can call that parameter as well. These are known as
Option
Parameter.
or
option.
parameter.
Like what parameter do you use with this command? What option will you use? So these are known as like spatial, like, okay. So let us say we have a particular vehicle. Every day we are running it, but let us say when we want to go to some party, we decorate that particular vehicle, right?
Yes, sir.
So for that decoration purpose, like obviously ls is going to list file in this particular way. But let us say if you want to decorate the output of this particular file in some customized manner, so that in that particular case, you can use -l option here, L for long list. Okay, so let us say I want to list all the files within etc directory. I can run this command like this, right? Moreover, one more thing I want to tell you. So let us say I want to run this particular command in such a way that all the files which are recently modified should come in the bottom. I'll run a command ls-lrth. What does that mean? L for list, like long list, as we did earlier. R for recursive, like if there are some directories and inside those directories there are some other files and folders, I want to see that. T for modify, like modification filter should be based on like recent time. H for human readable. Okay, let me tell you. So if you see here, like this particular file, it is of 14 KB. This is of like these many bytes only. This is of 4 KB. That way it is showing. But if you see here, guys, so the particular locale time is the particular file which has been recently modified. Do you agree with that?
Yes, sir.
Do you remember that we modified the particular time zone?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Before that, we tried to modify this particular locale.conf.
Yes, sir.
Before that, we tried to install this package. So one more thing, let us say if I remove this H from here. So let us see what happens. So right now the particular 4K, or maybe let us say it was 12K or kind of. So that sort of changes have been vanished from here. These sort of changes are not available now, because right now we are seeing the changes in binary format into into bits format, not into KB or GB format, right? So this H stands for human readable. Like whatever output we want to see, these outputs are visible in human readable format. Are we clear with that?
Yes,
Yes,
sir.
sir.
The
So
T,
there are,
T means time.
pardon?
T means time.
T
No,
for time, like filtration will be done based on like recent time modification.
Recent
Okay,
time modification.
okay, let me tell you one thing. There is a command known as touch. Touch command is basically used to create empty files or maybe to modify the time of any existing file, right? So I'm going to create a command here, Lokendra, right? One
Yes,
more
sir.
file I'm going to create here, let us say Ayush. Third file I want to create here is, let us say Teja, right? These three files I have created. Where where have I created these files? Inside etc folder, right? So let us say if I run this particular command, so you will get to know the particular local time, like local time, Lokendra, Ayush, and Teja. These files are created recently after these files are modified. So with the help of this T parameter, we are able to see that these files are recently modified. For example, what if I remove this T, then what would happen? So Ayush is coming here. What about Lokendra and Teja? Those files are not available because right now, if you see, so these are in dictionary format, lexicological format in reverse order, right? First of all, AA, then AD, then AL, then ALT. Like the particular words which are written into dictionary format. So that is a particular format right now we have here, right? If we run this command in this particular way, like ls-l h, so this will display the size in human readable format. But if you see, so this is now in sequence. Like yum is the last file which is available on this particular folder. Are we clear with that?
Yes, sir.
Okay, very true. Any other one who has any questions?
no, sir.
Okay, very good. Fine. So we were talking about like communication between two servers. So guys, first of all, let us try to understand this particular service known as SSH. This stands for Secure Cell. This is a protocol which provides secure communication between two systems using a client-server architecture and allows user to log into servers host system remotely. Like those systems which are available on remote site, we can directly connect those servers using SSH protocol. How? So let me tell you one thing. So if I log out from here, right now I'm on my local system on my Mac laptop, right? But if I try to hit this particular command, so this command is ready to take me to this particular operating system. So how did I reach there? With the help of SSH command. If we scroll up like little up, so what command did I use here, guys?
SSH.
SSH.
So we use the command known as SSH. Hyphen I means like we want to use this particular key as authentication mechanism for this particular user. What is the username? EC2-user. Is the username, right? And finally, this is the particular host name of that particular machine which is created on AWS. So rather than we can define the host name, or we can define IP address, or maybe if some sort of alias, maybe like shortcut which we have defined, we can utilize that as well. Okay, so now let us try to create a user here. User at, let us say, Tom. Password, passwd, let us say defined.
Yes, sir.
Now I want to log in to this particular Linux box 2 server from Linux box 1 machine. How can I log in?
SSH.
I'll copy the IP of the server and I will go here. I'll run a command SSH. Username is Tom at the rate. At the rate means where we want to log in, the particular server IP. It is saying, okay, define. Do we want to accept the fingerprint? I'll say yes. and it will deny the permission. Why it is so? Let me tell you. Linux systems are configured in such a way that by default username and passwords are not allowed here. So guys, do you see this particular line here? Password authentication.
No.
Yes, sir. Yes.
We'll set here as yes.
Sir, hyphen high. You don't enter hyphen highs. I, sir.
No, hyphen V is, I'm not entering in that particular. So what I'm doing here is I'm trying to SSH into remote system, but there seems to be some sort of additional configuration which is done into this remote machine. So I'll have to check that. Just let me check once again. So there might be some other entries which are restricting this password-based authentication from remote system to here. That's what I'm going to verify. So this is the file etc ssh sshd config. I need to check. So guys, what I did here is like password authentication that I enabled that was for SFTP system. Ideally, this should have been like enabled at this particular level where I have done it this time.
Okay, sir.
That was my bad. Actually, I should have taken care of that in advance.
Sir, how can we know to edit the exact file like you do mistakes, sir?
I'll tell you that, don't worry.
Okay, sir.
Okay, so the particular thing which I was telling you, like if you see your subsystem SFTP, do you see that here?
Yes, sir.
These entries, like mentioned below, this particular parameter are allowed for doing this one SSH. Sorry, SFTP. So if you talk about here, like these are the particular commands which are made available with SSH command. Like if you install as OpenSSH server, so like SSH, SSHD, SCP, SFTP, SSH agent, SSH add, keygen, copy ID. We will go through these commands in detail. But for now, I need to check like whether this particular is allowed from security group as well or not. So give me 2 minutes, guys. I need to test something else. So rather than password-based authentication, I want to try here root like key-based authentication, guys. So there is some other problem which even I need to check once, like what about particular parameters are added maybe into some other file. So if you see, right now we are sitting at this particular server, like Linux box 1, right?
Yes,
Yes,
sir.
sir.
And if we want to jump onto like another server, which is Linux box 2, so you see, like this host name will get changed since we are going to take remote access of this machine. So this is how we can take like SSH access of remote machine with the help of SSH command.
Yes, sir.
So what do we need to have here? Like we need to have two servers, and these two servers, like we can utilize one server as server and one server as client when we can try to do SSH from one server to another. Right, guys? And since there are multiple files, so there are multiple other files within RSL 9 where we can put additional level of security. So I need to check those particular files in order to enable password-based authentication. Otherwise, usually what happens if like system is configured with default parameters. So this is the particular file and this is the particular parameter where we have to modify this. Like password authentication. Like permanent root login yes and password authentication is equal to yes. So if we want to enable password based access, then we can enable this particular parameter. Clear, guys?
Yes, sir. Sir, without password authentication, we cannot access.
Okay, so this is the particular, as I was telling you, there has to be some other file where this authentication has been disabled. So because of this particular one, so that particular parameter has been supplied into this particular file, because of which we were not able to do SSH from remote server to here. So, okay, let me tell you. There, Ayush, there are a couple of files, there are a couple of types using which we can do SSH from local to remote, or from one server to another server. First of all, it is password-based authentication. Second one is going to be key-based authentication. Second one is going to be key-based authentication. Third one is going to passwordless. Now, what does that mean? Like, we have not defined any password. Like you might have seen when we used to work with Windows system and there was no password set. So you selected a username, you hit enter, and you were able to access to the Windows system, right?
Yes, sir.
So the same way, like we can define username and password-based authentication. We can define key-based authentication, like just I did before couple of moment. So that this is how we can do. And third thing here is like we can have a particular mechanism using which is known as password-less authentication. So three ways are there. So the recommended way here is key-based authentication. So if someone is going to ask you that what are the ways using which we can we access remote system over SSH, it could be password or key-based authentication. Passwordless authentication
Not
is
recommended.
not recommended. Okay, so let us try to log out from here, and so if you remember, we were trying to log in with Tom user earlier.
Yes, sir.
We are logged in with Tom user as well. Why? Because if you remember that there was a file like etc ssh sssd config.b, then after here there 50 cloud init.conf. So this is a particular file which is additionally introduced within RHEL 9 for cloud environment only, that we can disable password-based authentication within this particular file. And where I was trying to fix it, SSH config file.
Config.
But since that file is also part of this particular like SSH configuration, so that's why that did not allow me to modify the setting. But obviously, I understand the concept well. Obviously, by the passage of time, you guys will also start understanding this. So then you will also be able to understand and implement this sort of concept with your practice. So are we clear with that, guys?
Yes, sir.
Like how to create two machines, how to log into it, what sort of parameter do we want to understand, what are the particular subsystems we have. So if you talk about here, like obviously within tomorrow's session, we are going to see here like SSH. How do we do? We have seen SSHD. This is a particular daemon. How do we copy file from one server to another? We are going to see right away.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So let us say I want to copy a file. Where? Let us say I want to copy a file /etc. Let us say password. Where I want to copy Tom at the remote server. And what is remote server IP? Obviously, we were able to see copy that. And now define the location. Let us say /temp. File has been copied, so I can come on this particular server and I can see whether the file has been copied or not. So what particular user has copied the file? Tom. And when?
March.
27,356 because the particular time zone here is
UTC.
UTC.
okay. And if I have to, if I want to change the time zone here, then what do I need to do?
Date.
Date, time, CT, ECT,
Date and time
CTL.
CTL.
Yes, sir. Time, date, CTL.
That was time zone or like what? Wait. Okay, not hyphen hyphen. That was just list time zones. So we want to look here for Asia Kolkata.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. Asia, Kolkata.
Yes, sir.
And we need to replace this list from list to set, right?
Yes, sir.
Aradhya, are you able to understand the concepts? The time zone is modified to this one. So guys, I hope that is it for today and what we are going to understand, what we are going to discuss today. So we will take this SSH thing forward and after that we will talk about like we will try to understand how to configure open access server. So the particular parameters which are missed today, which we want to add, right? So these things we are going to cover within tomorrow's session. Same time, right guys?
Okay. Sir,
Okay,
I
sir.
have a
Yeah, please.
personal problem. Sir, I am using PuTTY. So when I used SSH and all these things, so PuTTY like stopped sometime when create any another machines. So what should I do?
Restart
Okay.
the
So
session.
you can start using git bash.
Git bash.
You can download from here.
Okay.
And please, guys, please make sure before logging off from the system, please do ensure to terminate the instances, otherwise you will end up paying unwanted charges.
Sorry, sir. Pardon, please.
Right? Okay, guys, thank you everyone. See you tomorrow. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Thank
Thank
you
you,
so
sir.
much.
Thank you, sir.